Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glaze from Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And yesterday was the biggest OTA we've seen in months. Loki is nerfed. Elsa is nerfed. Tons of other cards are changed. If you want the full update, check yesterday's video. But today we're going to look at two post OTA decks. One I think is suddenly one of the 3 to 5 best decks in the meta, and the other I'm not sure about. Let's get started talking about these awesome decks. We'd like to invite you to hit that sub button. We bring you at least 2 brand new decks every single weekday. These decks are, to the best of our ability, completely proven, high win rate decks in the current meta that can get you to infinite, high infinity, get you your infinity borders, help you win and compete at the highest levels of Marvel Snap. We get them to you fast so that you have these decks before the meta adjusts. Now, that's not entirely true of today's video. Fair warning. The OTA was yesterday and it shook so much up, the dust is still settling. We have a deck build from an absolutely brilliant creator, Safety Blade, and one that had a 63% in a very unfavorable meta over the last week, unfavorable for discard meta, and that it was winning so much now. I took it for a spin tonight and it was absolutely crushing. It beat everything I put in front of it, so I urge you to try that deck out too. Before we go any further, please check out our friend Wolversnap. Today is the last day to get a free Magic Birthday Party bundle for celebrating our friend's birthday. If you just go over to Wolversnap's YouTube channel, find his Nico gameplay video, comment on it, happy birthday. As long as you do so, you are entered to win that bundle. Excuse me, you also have to sub to him. I think you're going to love the content. I think if you like this content, you'll love his content, and it's 100% worth checking out. And plus, you get some free stuff and help a great person celebrate his birthday. We only have one deck credit today. I have no idea who made this discard list. It is a fairly standard discard list, in fairness. I featured a slightly different version of this yesterday. I said in yesterday's video I would put Blade in it, so I did, and then it's been winning, but the game deck already has hundreds of games built exactly this way, although without an update. Meanwhile, the second deck is Safety Blade. Safety had a really interesting take on Loki that I've been trying out. It's not perfect, but it's really good, and it's close, and it needs a couple tweaks, and I'm hoping that we as a community excuse me, that we as a community can figure out what those are. So what I'd like you guys to comment is what you think you would like to try in that Loki deck. Test it out. Let me know the results. I'm hoping that works out. Also worth noting before we go much further, we're going to plug Marvel Snap Zone, right? But next week kicks off the giveaway for the Ms. Marvel Season Pass. We also on Marvel Snap Zone right now is the Snap Judgments podcast right on the YouTube. Snap Judgments podcast with Educated Collins and Call Me Sal, two great creators. And last week on the Snap Judgment podcast, we interviewed Glenn Jones and we did the top 5 cost at each top 5 cards at each cost slot. And half of those got nerfed. So you can really hear the thought process that leads to all these changes. If you want to better understand Marvel Snap, it's must listen. I was also on Marvel Snapcast with STG and Top 5 Sino last week, if you'd like to check that out. And of course, our friend Wolversnap helped us celebrate his birthday. Let's keep going. This is the discard list I am playing right now. I took it on ladder. I climbed 700 ranks, 700, whatever, the pointy things. With it in about an hour. I just rolled with it. It felt like it was, if I didn't draw poorly or they didn't just somehow go over the top and I called their plays right, it was really hard to beat. This deck is very, very strong. Please note that Hellcow is now a 4/8, not a 4/6. It takes the deck builders a little bit of time to update for the OTA. Hellcow is a 4/8, that's why I put him back in the deck. I figure if he's a 4/8, then on turn 5, he's great, right? On turn 5, I can drop him instead of MODOK if I didn't draw MODOK, and it gives me a nice backup plan for the deck. Not perfect, but it's great. I cheated one of the times I used it, and I got a free Odin with Hellcow, so that was maybe a little bit much, but still, it worked out amazingly. Everything here just synergizes really well. I think this is one of those near perfect 12 decks, so it's worth checking out. It's worth playing. Swarm is dangerous with Mobius, but with less Loki, we should be seeing less Mobius for a little bit. right? And if we're seeing less Mobius, Swarm is back to being great, which means this deck is back to being great. Dakin's not like necessary. He's a 3/8 most of the time in this deck. 3/8 is still just good stats. If you don't have Modok, especially a turn 4 Dakin Blade, turn 5 Hellcow is pretty damn nice. If you don't have Dracula, the same idea is pretty nice. There's just a lot of like good power that ducks under Shang-Chi in this deck, and it's worth messing with. You need Modok, but Dakin could be Storm, Nebula, X-23, sort of like Sunspot. Basically any kind of good discard card that you see that is targeted or a card that benefits from discard is perfectly fine as Mobius. Those something like Nightcrawler or Jeff, as long as you just have a decent good card. Dakin is just a good card in this deck. It's an extra thing to do to play. Turn by turn snapping. This may be a meta deck. Blade, if Apocalypse, Wolvie, or Swarm are in that far right spot, otherwise pass. Turn 2 is Mobius, or if you have Mobius, you basically always play Mobius. Or you can drop Colleen if you don't have Mobius in hand and don't have Blade in hand, but have Wolvie or Swarm in hand. Turn 3 is almost always Dakin over Sif, but once in a while it's Sif if Apocalypse is in hand and you've got Modok, so you know you can Dakin later. Modok's not like a priority if you can go like Sif, Dracula, Modok, right? Like you can get Dakin, he's some nice stats, but he's not a requirement. Dracula or Dakin and Blade is the order of the day here, or Sif and Blade. You almost never, I can't think of a real time that you're really playing that Hellcow on for. I guess there's some statistical times, some like no on reveal locations where that 4/8 is just really good stats. If you play Dakin and just have a bunch of junk in your hand and not Modok, I'd still probably rather wait the extra turn to play him. But he can be good, right? Turn 5 is Modok or Hellcow and Blade. And turn 6 is America and Swarms. And if you didn't get Dracula out, it's Apocalypse and Swarms. And that's the game. That's the game plan. It's super simple. It's one of the most straightforward decks in the game. If you are struggling, please try out this deck. It's going to win games of Marvel Snap for you at a really high level right now. Quick variant talk as we go forward. We only have a sad. Oh no! Whoa! We're up to 4 hips in discard. That's amazing. Awesome. We were a little low on hips, but we have Blade. We have the gorgeous hip Dakin. We have the hip Sif, and we have the hip Hellcow. I was about to be really sad I didn't buy that hip Sworn, but Dinosaur Made of Bees is gonna win. I decided to do a little baby sub thing here, so I threw Baby Morbius, Baby Wolverine, Baby Modok, and Baby America in here. Scotty Young is awesome, and I think these are all adorable. I have Wolverines I like better, I have Modoks I like similarly, and I have Americas I like better. But hey, gotta go with the theme. We've got the wonderful, big, expensive bundle Apocalypse that I think goes decently with this Dracula. And then Colleen. This is the Colleen variant I have. I like it a lot. Not the most thematic for this particular deck, but it's still a really nice card. And that is our discard list and its variant. Ready? This is Safety, called it One Last Ride with Elsa. Safety Blade, if you don't know, is an absolute genius of a deck builder. He often breaks the meta. He was the one person I know who thought Loki was going to be good. And reminder, Loki is a 4/5 now, and Elsa, Collector is a 2/2, and Elsa's only giving +2. Angela's also a 2/2. He was the first person that was immediately like, Loki is good, so I'm going to start with his builds if I'm testing something, because he was way ahead of the curve. And like Loki, No Devil Dino decks with America Chavez, like he nailed it. He 100% nailed it. He also, in addition to basically creating the damn Loki archetype from scratch, created that original Darkhawk Stature Black Bolt list. He created this Dracula dump list way back in the day. Dracula dump not being Dracula Apocalypse, being Dracula, where like it ditches Red Skull or Infinite on the last turn, and that's how it wins, while playing a bunch of ones and Blue Marvel and stuff. He's an innovator who builds extremely powerful decks. He's a genius at Marvel Snap. This is one of the 2 ways he was planning on trying Elsa. The other was much more straightforward. It was basically the same build we've talked about 15 times on this channel. Check literally any old Loki video. You can go back like 4 or 5 days and probably find one. This one takes pieces of Dara's Tech Loki and sort of combines it with the standard Loki build more than it used to. And I played it for a couple hours today. I spent my evening testing. I'm recording this video late. I stayed up late to make sure that I get you the best information I can. and this deck is nowhere near as good as it was. I'm telling you, this deck feels significantly worse than it was, and I can tell why. I can tell which pieces don't feel good. So, we're going to talk more about this on the next slide. But Maria, Nico, Snowguard, Collector, Elsa, Jeff, Loki, and Enchantress all feel great. Like, great. Shang also won me an 8 cuber, so, no hate for Shang. That means Kitty, Angela, Invisible Woman felt varying degrees of weak. Kitty felt okay, nothing special, right? Kitty's good if you get the Elsa shenanigans going. It's much harder to get the Elsa shenanigans going because if you need to Loki on 4, you need to Loki on 5, and that's often too late. So like if you're Loki on 4, you're just chucking Kitty, and then what's the point? But Angela doesn't feel like she's getting nearly big enough, and she like telegraphs your plays to an extent that's not really good. Collector can solo a lane again, just be careful of Shang. And Invisible Woman didn't feel necessary. I felt like I could sort of build in one lane enough to throw priority without having to worry about her, and without Killmonger, and you can't run Killmonger because there's multiple ones. It didn't feel nearly as necessary. So I think the changes are Angela and Invisible Woman and maybe Kitty. So help me figure out what to do with those. If you're missing Snowguard, I think you absolutely need Snowguard for this deck. Um, I think Coulson might need to go back in as well because you just want ways to make sure your hand is full with Loki. And that was happening less often than it used to because you could no longer get that extra card play in. But you need Snowguard for that extra card. You also obviously need Loki for the Loki deck. Jeff can be Nightcrawler without any trouble. Angela and Invisible Woman are like fine, but not anything special. I was thinking things like Armor, Luke, Cosmo, Mirage, Sentinel, and Zabu. And of course, Coulson. I think I just want more draw. I also think Zabu might be kind of busted here if I'm running Enchantress and I can just use it to blow up their Mobius on the right turn. But again, now like we're dangerous, right? Now we're dangerous in terms of what turn we're playing things. This is a severe, much more severe nerf to Loki than I thought yesterday. You can immediately feel it when you play the deck. All right. Does Loki still work? We're gonna find out. I think so. I think we have to change the builds more. I think Quinjet might be the secret sauce. I said that yesterday. We're gonna keep testing. I'm telling you, there's something. We'll get there. All right. Maria's better than Snowguard's better than Kitty. Elsa's better than Collector, but flip if you have Loki in hand, and they're all better than the other twos. Elsa is better than Collector, and obviously flip if you have Loki. Better than other twos, and you always, always, always play Snowguard. I'd rather play Snowguard and Maria if I know I have Loki than almost any other two in the deck. Turn 4, you Loki or Enchantress if you need to. Turn 5, Loki, Enchantress, or Shang if you need to. And turn 6, you drop everything. Very straightforward. I'm not sure when to snap. Collector is like Shang bait right now. So we might need to go back to Cosmo, but if we're running Cosmo and all these high cost cards and Coulson, this starts to get iffy, right? This is going to be a puzzle. We'll get there, but this is going to be a puzzle. All right. Some quick variant talk. We've got Maria Hill Noir, the love the Noir, but missing her buddy Coulson, who I also have in Noir. Um, I love this Kitty. I'm not sure Kitty's good right now. I think they might have forced Kitty out of the meta. We'll see. We'll see. Nico, Midnight Suns is great. I love this Snowguard. I have the other cool Snowguard, the Spotlight one, but I like this one better. It feels like it goes better with the theme of this deck. We've got Anime Angela. I think Angela's dead as a 2/2 +1. If not dead, just like so she's a lot of work to get to like a 2/5, and I just don't think it's generally worth that work in most decks. Collector's a 2/2 and is back to being completely busted in this deck. Elsa feels fair as a 2/2. She's still great and a priority, but fair. Um, we've got again like yes, we only have 3 hips here. That's sad. We're a hip drawer. We always want 4 hips in a deck. We've got Alex Ross, Invisible Woman. She's gorgeous. One of my favorite pieces in the game. Lovely, lovely hip Jeff. Lovely hip Elsa. You love to see it. I still like this Loki best, and I've got this Shang and Enchantress both in gold, and they are beautiful. Shop talk. These are the cards I had in the shop today. I have this reasonably cool Thanos, but I have the Thanos that you're seeing bigger in gold with a purple Kirby crackle. It's my favorite variant, and I don't feel like I need another Thanos because as far as I can tell, I'm never going to play a different Thanos. I almost bought that Rian Shang-Chi. I think it's gorgeous. But I have the Shang-Chi you saw in the previous one gold, and I've got this really cool Shang-Chi, also the kid Shang-Chi. And like, I don't need another Shang-Chi. I'm not going to play a third. I only ever really cycle between two variants, except for the like most extreme occasion. So sorry to that one. If it were 700, I'd probably do it. But 12. You also saw I had anime Angela. Well, this Angela is gross. Sorry, is amazing. Gross even came from that time. I also really, really like this Chibi Angela. I love the ribbon. I also don't think Angela's great anymore, so I certainly don't need a third. They're trying to sell this Ghost Rider, and I'll be honest, I don't really even like it. I think the one they gave us in the bundle, sorry, not the bundle, the season pass this season is just way better. And even better than that is this, I believe, Jacinto version. I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous animated. I have two Venoms. I don't need a baby Venom. And I have a hip for Mantis and a hip for Ghost, so they're not even options. I do not have the hip Odin, but I'm not spending gold on Odin variant when there's a hip out there. I'm just going to wait for that hip. Right, that's it for today. I'll probably be back Sunday unless something crazy happens with another video. It's not possible I'm back Monday and we do go back to our just weekday schedule. Either way, thank you so much for your support. Please hit that sub button. We'd really appreciate it. It's free to you, helps us out. Much love. Peace.